Hi, my name is Brady Stoops, and for my final project, I decided to research John Williams. John Williams is one of the most famous conductors of all time, and he's essentially the sound of modern cinema. He has been in films and done the music for Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and many more. So, who he was basically a composer, a conductor, and a pianist for over 70 years, and he's been known for making some of the most iconic and enduring films in history, obviously, with the intro to Star Wars, Harry Potter, all those films. He's worked with some of the most famous directors of all time, with Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and Chris Columbus. And his music has shaped the emotional core of modern cinema to this day. So, to start off with John Williams' early life and career, he was born in 1932 in New York. Um, for his background, he was the son of a jazz percussionist, so he grew up surrounded by music, and that had a lot of influence on him to want to get into music. Then, when he was a teenager, he moved to Los Angeles, and that helped him see what it was like in Hollywood. And then he went to become a Juilliard trained pianist. Juilliard was a school that he went to become a pianist. And then for his early work, he worked on a lot of small TV shows with small films. Then, once his career started to take off, he just began working on studio pianist, and he was a film scorer. He composed music for TV shows such as Gillian's Island or Lost in Space. Then his major breakthrough was when he won his first Academy Award for Fiddler on the Roof, and that was in 1971. And then 3 years later, in 1974, is when he collaborated with the famous legendary director Steven Spielberg with the Sugarland Express. And from that, in 1975, a year later, led to Jaws, which we all know is one of the most famous movies of all time. It's very well produced with the music, thanks to him. And then his cultural impact. So he revived orchestral film scoring in the 1970s, which made the themes become a lot more popular with culture. And to this day, he has influenced countless composers. Still looking back at what he did for movies and how he has changed what happens to this day. He helped revive the grand film score style in the late 20th century, and his music is still performed at concerts, at the Olympic ceremony. He conducted the Olympic ceremony in, I think, 1984, and his themes have become part of parodies, commercials, and sporting events. So some of the awards and recognition that John Williams has received is he has 5 wins in the Academy Awards and over 50 nominations, which is second most all time behind Walt Disney. So he's up there with some of the greatest of all time at what he does. He has 25 Grammy wins and dozens more for his film and classical works. He has 4 Golden Globe wins, and he received the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award in 2016, and John Williams was the first composer to receive that honor. He also won the National Medal of Arts in 2009 and was presented by President Obama at the time to receive that award. And he's known for basically having some of the greatest film track sounds of all time by critics, audiences, and just anyone who watches those films knows that he's one of the greatest alive. So getting into his style of music, he was kind of known for a lush, full arrangement style, kind of in a romantic way. He liked to have musical themes for his characters, his places, and his ideas. You can kind of see that in Harry Potter and Star Wars. His influences were from people like Hoist, Stravinsky, and Korngold. And for his emotion, he liked to enhance his storytelling through music. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you're watching movies like Harry Potter and Star Wars, the music plays such a big role and you don't understand that until after looking back to it. When you think of movies like Star Wars and Harry Potter, the music is what stands out, and he did such a good job through that. He also liked to blend old and new, so he would combine traditional writing with modern harmonies and rhythms. In to stay memorable, he would have melodies that are instantly recognizable and emotionally resonant. So for the first example I wanted to show of his was obviously the famous Star Wars main title. I'm going to play that right now. Oh, looks like we can't play it through this, but the Star Wars main title, everyone knows it. It broke the world record for soundtrack sales. It had a full orchestra, strong duple-meter, and a heroic brass fanfare. The other example I wanted to play was Hedwig's theme from Harry Potter. Obviously, it's magical. It had a minor mode that adds mystery. Fun facts about him, where he learned to play the piano at age 7 and could already read a full sheet fluently. He briefly served in the Air Force, where he arranged music for the band. So you can see he's always had a passion for music. Like I said, he composed the Olympic Games, and he also wrote NBC Nightly News, which is still in use today. For his musical elements, obviously his melodies are very iconic. He used a stepwise motion, and they often had dramatic leaps. His harmonies were very rich and often included changes which had emotional impact on the audience. His texture was mostly layers for intensity, mostly in action scenes. Williams had a full orchestral palette. He often used different sections to evoke different moods. His rhythm had a wide range. It could have been bold, suspenseful. It could have been repeating. He had many different ways to get people engaged. And for his form, he used clear classical structures that made his film scores more effective for concert work. So to conclude him, he shaped the sound of modern cinema over the last 6 decades. His music elevates films, making scenes unforgettable. He makes movies, like when you think about movies, it's him. His icon with Star Wars, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. His mastery, he combines classical traditions with innovative scoring techniques. And his work also proves that great film music doesn't just accompany a story, it becomes a part of it. So now I'm going to play the Star Wars theme, since it didn't work before.
We are Gardner.
We are partners. Bum, 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 bum.
Freakier Friday.
So obviously here's the iconic Star Wars theme. Now I'm going to play the Harry Potter one. Very iconic also. You can hear it kind of has a mystery to it. So yeah, that is all for my project. Thank you so much for this class, and I had a great time learning about everything with music. This is my first time taking a music class, and I really appreciate everything.